Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring some pretty cool approaches to reading. And get this, our source material is excerpts from a book by like a prominent Chinese intellectual. It was originally written in Chinese and has been translated into English.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
It's really fascinating, actually, like how this author really challenges some common assumptions that we have about reading.
right. Like, have you ever felt this pressure to, like, finish every book that you start?
Totally.
This author actually encourages like a totally different approach. They compare a book to like a web, not a mountain.
Okay.
So instead of like climbing to the peak, you get to explore these different threads. You can jump around based on, what sparks your interest.
It's like they're giving you permission to, like read the way you naturally want to. You can
Yeah,
follow your curiosity wherever it leads.
exactly.
And they actually argue that this can lead to like more profound insights and connections, actually.
I love that. The author even shares how their own reading journey has been like unsystematic, jumping between like seemingly unrelated books,
Right.
but then somehow those unexpected connections like actually fueled their intellectual growth.
Yeah, this reminds me of the concept of like a mental gymnasium that the author talks about. They believe that reading can be like a workout for your brain,
Okay.
especially when it comes to strengthening your reasoning skills.
Okay, I'm all about a good brain workout. So what kind of reading material do they recommend for this?
Well, they're a big fan of detective novels.
Oh,
Okay, like think about it. You're presented with this locked room mystery. You have all the facts, but like the real challenge is putting those pieces together,
yeah.
just like Hercule Poirot does in Agatha Christie novels.
So it's not just about being entertained by the story, it's about actively engaging with the clues, analyzing the evidence,
Right.
and really honing your own deductive reasoning skills.
Exactly. And the author argues that this kind of mental training can be applied to like so many areas of life, whether you're evaluating a business proposal or, trying to understand a complex scientific theory.
It's like building a mental muscle
Yeah.
for critical thinking and problem solving.
The author also highlights how this like mental gymnasium approach can be applied to nonfiction as well.
No.
They give a fascinating example of this scholar who used financial analysis to figure out the wealth of a character
Oh, well.
in Dream of the Red Chamber. It's a classic Chinese novel.
Wait, so someone used like spreadsheets
Yeah.
to analyze a fictional character's finances. That's amazing.
It's really cool. They were able to deduce the character's economic status based on clues that are scattered throughout the text,
Yeah.
like descriptions of their clothing, their home, and their social interactions.
It's a really clever example of how like applying these different analytical tools can lead to a deeper understanding of literature. It shows how reading, when approached with an active and inquisitive mind, it can be so much more than just like passively absorbing information.
Absolutely. The author takes this idea even further and discusses how, mathematical analysis was used to investigate the authorship of Dream of the Red Chamber.
Oh, okay.
There's this like long-standing debate about whether both parts of the novel were written by the same person.
Right.
And scholars have used like statistical modeling to, analyze the writing style and the vocabulary in each part.
So they're using data analysis to solve a literary mystery. That's really cool. It shows how reading can be a springboard for all sorts of intellectual explorations.
Absolutely.
Love that.
And that actually leads us to another really powerful way that reading can, enhance our lives, which is by helping us shift perspectives and reframe our understanding of the world.
This is so important. It's like realizing that there's always more than one way to look at a situation.
Exactly. The author uses a simple but brilliant anecdote to kind of illustrate this.
Yeah.
So two worshipers ask a priest, about smoking and praying.
Cool.
One asks, "Is it okay to smoke while praying?" And the priest scolds him.
Wow.
The other asks, "Is it okay to pray while smoking?" And the priest praises him.
It's amazing how like a subtle shift in framing completely changes the interpretation of the action.
Yeah, and the author argues that reading can be like a powerful tool for developing this kind of mental flexibility, this
Yeah.
ability to, see things from multiple perspectives.
So how do we actually put this into practice? What kind of reading material do they recommend for shifting perspectives?
Well, they're a big advocate for historical biographies, like by immersing ourselves in the lives of complex figures from the past, we can move beyond these simple judgments of good and evil and appreciate the nuances of like human motivation and decision making.
They specifically mentioned Tuobahua,
Mm-hmm.
fascinating figure in Chinese history. He was a poet, a scholar, a statesman. His life was full of triumphs and setbacks. Reading his biography can offer like valuable insights into resilience, leadership, and the complexities of navigating, a constantly changing world.
Absolutely. And sometimes you can find these, reframing tools in the most unexpected places. The author shares a story about a school's guidelines for using the blackboard.
Okay.
It might seem like a mundane topic, but when you dig deeper, you see how much thought went into creating a learning environment that is both effective and respectful.
Yeah. It's like they're saying that even the most everyday objects and situations can reveal deeper layers of meaning and intention if we learn to look at them with fresh eyes.
Right. And this ability to kind of see beyond the surface, to appreciate these different perspectives, is a valuable skill that reading can help us cultivate.
Now, on a slightly different note, the author dives into a really interesting discussion about resume virtues versus eulogy virtues.
Right.
It's a concept that David Brooks popularized, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the difference between the skills and achievements that we accumulate for our resumes, things like our job titles, our degrees, our awards, versus the qualities that truly define our character and our legacy. The things people will remember us for at our eulogies.
It's such a powerful distinction. It makes you think about what really matters in life beyond these external markers of success.
The author uses the example of Bill Clinton during the Lewinsky scandal. He was able to compartmentalize and focus on his presidential duties, despite the intense personal and political turmoil that he was facing.
Yeah.
He describes it as a mental device that allowed him to, prioritize the tasks at hand.
While most of us will hopefully never face a situation as extreme as that, the ability to focus and persevere in the face of challenges is a valuable skill for everyone.
Absolutely. And the author argues that reading can actually help us cultivate these eulogy virtues, by engaging with stories of individuals who faced difficult choices, who demonstrated courage and compassion. We can, internalize those values and apply them to our own lives.
So it's not just about gaining knowledge from books. It's about absorbing wisdom, developing our character, and figuring out what kind of legacy we want to leave behind.
Exactly. And this idea of, focusing on long-term impact and deeper values isn't just relevant to personal growth,
Yeah.
The author gives some really interesting examples of how businesses are applying these principles as well. Have you ever heard of Steve Jobs' famous question at Apple?
Yeah.
What would you do if money were no object?
I love that question. It forces you to think beyond limitations and tap into your true passions.
Right. It's about aligning your work with your values and focusing on, creating something truly meaningful, not just chasing profits.
The author also talks about Amazon's practice of writing press releases and FAQs before starting a new project.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds a bit counterintuitive.
It might seem strange, but it's actually a brilliant way to ensure that every project has a clear purpose and a compelling value proposition.
Okay.
By imagining how they would announce the finished product to the world, they're forced to, define its impact from the outset.
It's like preemptively answering the question, so what? Why should anyone care about this?
Exactly.
And if you can't answer that convincingly, maybe the project isn't worth pursuing.
Right. This practice highlights the importance of strategic thinking, long-term vision, and a focus on creating value for others. And it all ties back to the idea that reading can inspire us to, approach our work, our relationships, and our lives with a deeper sense of purpose and meaning.
And that brings us to another crucial skill the author emphasizes, the power of abstraction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll admit, sometimes when I hear the word abstraction, my eyes kind of glaze over a bit. But I have a feeling this author has a way of making even abstract concepts come alive.
They definitely do. And they make a really compelling case for why, mastering abstract concepts is so essential.
Okay.
Especially in a world that's overflowing with information.
So help me wrap my head around this. Why are abstract concepts so important?
Okay. Think of it this way. You're bombarded with information all day long. News articles, social media posts, emails, podcasts like this one. It's overwhelming.
Right.
Abstract concepts act like mental filters. They help us organize information. identify patterns, and connect, seemingly unrelated ideas. They
Uh,
give us a framework for making sense of the world.
So instead of drowning in a sea of data,
Hmm.
we can start to see the bigger picture, the underlying structures, the connections that tie everything together.
Exactly. And the author uses a great example from their own experience teaching communication studies.
Oh,
Even as an expert in the field, they found like new clarity and a deeper understanding of the subject by organizing this vast amount of information into a well-structured set of like keywords.
so it's like those keywords became a mental map, making it easier to navigate the complexities of the subject. And it shows that even experts can benefit from, revisiting and refining their understanding of these fundamental concepts.
Absolutely. They also give the example of the concept of entropy.
Okay.
It's a single word that encapsulates this really complex idea from thermodynamics, but once you grasp it, it unlocks a deeper understanding of everything
Really?
from physics and chemistry to information theory and the evolution of the universe.
Wow. So one abstract concept can be like a key that opens up multiple doors to understanding.
Absolutely.
And I'm starting to see how reading plays like a crucial role in giving us access to these powerful tools.
Exactly. By engaging with books that explore different disciplines, different ways of thinking, we expand our mental toolkit and develop the ability to make sense of the world in more nuanced and sophisticated ways.
This is making me think about how I approach learning in general. I tend to be very detail-oriented, but maybe I need to focus more on identifying like those core abstract concepts
Yeah,
that can help me connect the dots and see the bigger picture.
that's a great insight. And the author would definitely agree. They argue that reading can be a powerful tool for, developing this conceptual thinking ability for learning to see the forest for the trees, so to speak.
This is all making me really excited to explore these methods further, and I have a feeling we're just uh, scratching the surface of what this author has to offer.
Oh, we've only just begun. There's so much more to uncover, especially in the realm of unlocking the condensed code embedded within language itself.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What do they mean by condensed code?
Think of it this way. Words and symbols are like tiny capsules of meaning and emotion.
Okay.
And through reading, we can reactivate the richness behind them, rediscovering the like poetic origins of language
Right.
and appreciating the layers of meaning that lie beneath even our everyday expressions.
It's like becoming more fluent in our own language.
Yes.
Seeing the poetry and power hidden within the words we use every day.
The author shares a beautiful story called The Golden Rose. It's by Pastovsky.
Okay.
It's a metaphor for the writing process, but it also beautifully captures the essence of any creative endeavor, really.
Oh, I love Pastovsky. What's the story about?
It involves this poor Parisian street sweeper who's like deeply in love with this woman,
Okay.
but he can't afford to buy her a gift, so he starts collecting these tiny flecks of gold dust that fall from the jewelry workshops that he cleans.
Wow.
He painstakingly gathers these particles for months, and he eventually accumulates enough to create this golden rose for his beloved.
That's such a beautiful image.
Yeah.
Like transforming dust into gold through patience and dedication.
Exactly. And the author uses this story to highlight the power of language to do the same thing, to take the raw materials of our thoughts and our experiences
that.
and shape them into something beautiful and meaningful.
It's like we're all alchemists in a way, using language to transform the ordinary into something extraordinary.
The author also shares a more philosophical example from the work of Gilles Deleuze. Deleuze used apples and ginger as symbols.
Like apples and ginger.
Yeah, to represent different approaches to life and innovation.
Okay, I'm curious about this.
So Deleuze associated the apple with a more traditional structured approach where everything is, smooth and polished.
Okay.
Ginger, on the other hand, with its, knobby, unpredictable growth, represented a more chaotic, rhizomatic approach.
So it's about the tension between conformity and creativity, between order and chaos.
Exactly.
And these simple symbols help us grasp these complex ideas in a more intuitive way.
Absolutely. And the author goes on to trace the evolution of language itself from, verbose descriptions to these more condensed symbolic terms. They compare ancient African drum language, which relied on elaborate phrases to convey, even simple messages, to the complexity and layered meanings we find in modern languages.
It's fascinating to think about how language has evolved over time, becoming more efficient, but also how that efficiency can sometimes come at the cost of, like, nuance and poetic richness.
Right. And that's where reading plays such a vital role.
Yeah.
It allows us to, delve beneath the surface of language, to reconnect with the imagery, the emotions, and the, cultural context that give words their true power.
It's like we're learning to read between the lines, to decode the symbolic language that shapes our understanding of the world.
And this skill is essential for understanding, not just literature and philosophy, but also the narratives that drive our politics, our social movements, and even our personal relationships.
It's about recognizing that a single image, a carefully chosen phrase, can carry like a world of meaning and emotion.
Absolutely.
And the more attuned we are to those subtle cues, the richer our understanding of the world becomes.
This brings us to the final method we'll discuss today, which is the importance of gaining a view from above through models.
Okay, so we're going from decoding symbols to looking at the bigger picture. I like it.
It's about developing this ability to step back from the details and see the larger patterns, the underlying structures that govern these complex systems.
So instead of getting lost in the weeds, we're learning to see the whole forest.
The author uses this analogy of like a bird's eye view of a landscape.
Okay.
From that vantage point, you can see the flow of rivers, the layout of cities, the connections between different geographical features in a way that wouldn't be possible from, ground level.
It's like gaining a new perspective on familiar territory.
Exactly. And they argue that developing this ability to think in terms of models is essential for understanding everything from, history and economics to human behavior and the natural world.
The author also introduces a concept called strategic insensitivity, which I have to admit, it sounds a bit counterintuitive.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's actually about learning to filter out the noise, to focus on what truly matters.
Okay.
And to avoid getting bogged down by minor details or annoyances that don't ultimately affect the bigger picture.
So it's like learning to prioritize.
Yeah.
To focus on the 20% of effort that produces 80% of the results.
Yeah.
I can definitely see how that could be valuable in a world that's constantly demanding our attention.
The author provides some great examples of how historical narratives can be, reframed through these larger models. They discuss a general history of China, a book that was written during wartime, where the author focused on major shifts and transitions rather than, a detailed chronological account.
So instead of getting bogged down in every battle and every political intrigue, the author zoomed out to focus on, the key turning points that shaped the course of Chinese history.
Right. And this allowed them to create this concise and powerful narrative that captured the essence of, a vast and complex subject.
That makes sense. They also mention The Axial Age, a book that proposes, a very fascinating, albeit controversial, model for understanding the development and spread of civilizations.
Right. The author of The Axial Age argues that major geographical features, played a key role in shaping the course of history. The proximity of different cultures, the ease of trade and travel, the availability of resources. These factors all influenced, the exchange of ideas, the rise and fall of empires, and the development of distinct cultural identities.
It's a reminder that even seemingly unrelated factors can have a profound impact on human events. And it shows how adopting different models can lead to new insights and a deeper understanding of the world.
Exactly. It's all about challenging our assumptions, questioning conventional wisdom, and always seeking a broader perspective.
This is making me realize that I often get stuck in a particular way of looking at things.
Right.
But maybe by consciously seeking out different models, different frameworks for understanding, I can break free from those limitations and gain a more nuanced and multifaceted perspective.
That's a great takeaway, and it really speaks to the power of reading to expand our minds and challenge our assumptions.
I'm feeling inspired to start exploring some of these books and ideas that the author has introduced.
That's fantastic, and we're just getting started. There's so much more to uncover, especially in the realm of scaling and how it can help us understand patterns in, biology, cities, and even companies.
I can't wait. I'm already starting to see how these different approaches to reading can open up a whole new world of understanding and insight.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Okay, so we've been talking about gaining this view from above, by using models to understand these complex systems. Now you take this idea even further with the concept of scaling, right?
Yeah, so the author highlights the work of Geoffrey West. He's a physicist who has applied the principles of scaling to, like, everything from biology and cities to companies. It's about understanding how things change as they grow larger and more complex.
So give me an example. How does scaling work in biology?
Okay, so West discovered that there are these predictable mathematical relationships between body size and things like metabolic rate and lifespan across different species.
Okay.
So, like, a larger animal will typically live longer, but have a slower metabolism than a smaller animal.
That's fascinating. So our biology is governed by these like underlying mathematical principles based on scale.
Exactly. And the really mind-blowing thing is that West found similar scaling patterns in cities and companies.
Oh, wow.
As a city grows, its infrastructure, its energy consumption, its economic output, it all scales up in predictable ways.
So there are these like universal laws that apply to both biological organisms and human-made systems. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. But it also raises some important questions about the limits of growth.
Right.
Like, can a city or a company just keep growing forever? Or are there, like, inherent constraints based on these scaling laws?
That's a really thought-provoking question. It makes you think about the long-term sustainability of, our current models of economic growth.
Right. And it highlights the importance of, understanding these complex systems and finding ways to manage them effectively.
Okay, so scaling gives us this like macro view of the world, but the author also encourages us to zoom in and use reading to explore the world on a more personal level, right?
Absolutely. They talk about armchair travel, how reading can transport us to, different cultures, historical periods, and ways of life, all without leaving our homes.
It's like having a passport to the world tucked between the pages of a book.
Exactly. And the author beautifully describes the power of wind objects, those tangible items that carry the essence of a place,
Oh, okay.
like a seashell from a distant beach or a spice from a foreign market.
Right.
They argue that books can act as wind objects for the mind, evoking the sights, sounds, smells, and emotions of, these different places.
So even if we can't physically travel to like a specific location, reading can give us a glimpse into its unique character and spirit.
Right. They share an example of how, like, a simple object, a Japanese teacup, can evoke, a whole world of cultural meaning and aesthetic sensibility.
Wow.
The shape, the glaze, the delicate brushstrokes.
Yeah.
They all speak to, like, centuries of tradition and this profound appreciation for beauty.
It reminds me of how a single object can like sometimes trigger a flood of memories and associations. It's like a portal to a different time and place.
Right. And reading can be that portal, allowing us to experience different cultures in, this visceral and immersive way.
The author also talks about reading as a way to understand the chessboard of life.
Yeah.
What do they mean by that?
They're referring to the, like, complex interplay of forces, strategies, and consequences that shape our individual and collective destinies. It's like stepping back from the immediate game
Okay.
and observing the larger patterns, the underlying structures that, determine the outcome.
So it's about developing a more strategic and analytical approach to life.
Exactly. They discuss a book that, analyzes the rise and fall of empires throughout history.
Right.
By studying these patterns, we can gain insights into, the factors that contribute to success or failure, the dynamics of power, and the challenges of maintaining, stability and prosperity.
It's like learning from the successes and mistakes of those who came before us.
Exactly. And applying those lessons to, our own lives and to the challenges we face as a society.
Now, shifting gears a bit, the author also delves into the more personal realm of peeping, the act of observing the lives of others through reading.
It's like gaining this glimpse into the human condition, understanding, the complexities of relationships, the challenges of navigating different social contexts, and the, like, universal themes of love, loss, and the search for meaning.
I think everyone enjoys a bit of peeping now and then.
Totally.
It's how we learn about the world and connect with others on, a deeper level.
Exactly. And reading allows us to do this in a safe and controlled way. The author shares a story about, this woman who reads letters written by her grandmother.
Okay.
And she, like, discovers a whole hidden world of passion, betrayal, and resilience that she never knew existed.
It's amazing how reading can unlock those hidden stories those like secret histories that shape our lives and our families.
Right. And the author also talks about, the power of reading autobiographies and memoirs. It's like having a conversation with someone who has lived through, extraordinary times, gaining firsthand accounts of historical events, personal struggles, and, triumphs over adversity.
I love reading memoirs. It's like getting a backstage pass to someone's life,
Yeah.
seeing the world through their eyes and, learning from their experiences.
Absolutely. It's a powerful way to connect with others and to expand our understanding of, what it means to be human.
Now, on a more introspective note, the author introduces the theme of self-neglect,
Right.
the idea that we sometimes need to like step outside of our own preoccupations
Yeah.
and focus on something larger than ourselves.
They argue that reading can be a powerful antidote to, self-absorption. By immersing ourselves in stories, ideas, and perspectives that are, different from our own, we gain a broader view of the world
Right.
and a deeper understanding of, our place in it.
It's like taking a mental vacation from our own egos
Yeah.
and, stepping into the shoes of others.
Exactly. They give an example of, this man who reads a book about the plight of refugees. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
and how that experience completely transformed, his understanding of global issues and his sense of responsibility to, help those in need.
That's a powerful example of how reading can expand our empathy and compassion and inspire us to take action.
Right. And it leads us to, the final theme in this section, which is the quest for meaning,
Right.
that like fundamental human desire to understand, our place in the universe, the purpose of our lives, and the values that guide our actions.
It's the big question, isn't it? Like, what's it all about? Why are we here?
And the author argues that reading can be an invaluable tool in this quest.
Okay.
By engaging with, different philosophical and spiritual traditions, different ways of understanding the human condition, we can gain insights and inspiration for, living a more meaningful life.
It's like gathering wisdom from the great thinkers and spiritual leaders throughout history.
They share, an example of a woman who reads a book about Stoic philosophy.
Oh, and how it helped her, cope with adversity, find peace in the present moment, and, live a life guided by reason and virtue.
Stoicism is so relevant to our modern lives.
Totally.
It's about developing resilience, accepting what we can't control, and focusing on living, a virtuous life.
And it's a great example of how reading can, provide us with practical tools and frameworks for navigating life's challenges and, finding meaning in our experiences.
Right, but the author emphasizes that it's not enough to simply contemplate these ideas.
Yeah.
We need to move from contemplation to action.
Exactly. Reading should be a catalyst for action, for applying the, knowledge, insights, and inspiration we gain to our own lives and to the world around us.
So how do we bridge that gap between reading and action?
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice?
They share an inspiring story about this group of students who read a book about social justice, and they were so moved by its message that they organized a community project to address a local issue.
Oh.
It's a powerful example of how reading can ignite, passion, purpose, and a desire to, make a tangible difference in the world.
It's like those students took the ideas from the book and made them real, turning theory into action.
Exactly. And that's the ultimate goal, to use reading as a springboard for personal growth, creative expression, and positive change in the world.
This has been such a rich and thought-provoking exploration so far. I'm really starting to see how reading can be so much more than just a leisure activity.
Oh, we're just getting started. There's a whole universe of possibilities waiting to be discovered within the pages of a book.
I'm ready to keep exploring. Where do we go from here?
Well, in our next segment, we'll delve into this fascinating realm of marvelous innovations and explore how reading can, spark creativity, inspire new ideas, and open our minds to different ways of thinking and problem solving.
This sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for ways to, boost my creativity and and come up with fresh ideas.
Then you're in for a treat. We'll be diving into how reading can be like this wellspring of inspiration, providing us with the mental building blocks for innovation and helping us connect seemingly disparate ideas in, new and unexpected ways.
I can't wait. So far, we've covered so much ground in our deep dive into these unique reading methods. We've talked about using books to train our minds, to reframe our perspectives, and even understand these complex systems like cities and companies. But now it's time to explore how reading can spark creativity and innovation, right?
Yeah, so the author uses this really cool metaphor of net weaving to describe how reading can help us, connect these seemingly disparate ideas and then create something new and valuable from those connections.
I like that, net weaving. So it's not just about, absorbing information. It's about actively making connections, synthesizing what we've learned, and creating something original.
Yeah. And they share this fascinating anecdote about the scientist who read a book about spider webs.
Right.
And, the intricate structure and the strength of those webs, it inspired the scientist to apply those same principles to, design a new type of building material.
Wow. So inspiration can come from the most unexpected places. It makes you realize that reading broadly can open up all sorts of creative possibilities.
Right. And the author also talks about how reading can provide us with the mental building blocks for innovation. It's like,
Right.
we're assembling this mental toolkit, and each book we read adds a new tool, a new technique, a new way of thinking that we can then apply to, our own creative endeavors.
It makes me think about how important it is to be like a lifelong learner, to constantly be, expanding our knowledge and our skill set.
Absolutely. They give the example of a book that explores the history of architecture.
Yeah.
By understanding how different architectural styles evolved over time, how they reflected, different cultural values and technological advancements, we gain a deeper appreciation for, the creative process and the factors that influence design.
So it's not just about copying what others have done before us. It's about understanding the underlying principles and applying them in new and innovative ways.
Exactly. And sometimes the most innovative ideas come from, challenging our assumptions and pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible.
Which brings us to the realm of strange tales, those stories that make us, think differently about the world.
Right. The author talks about how science fiction in particular can be incredibly stimulating for the imagination. They mention a novel that explores the concept of parallel universes where, different versions of ourselves make different choices and live out different lives.
That's a mind-bending concept that makes you question your own choices and the paths not taken.
Yeah, and it highlights how fiction can be a powerful tool for exploring different possibilities, for, stretching our minds, and for imagining alternative realities.
The author also talks about how reading can transport us to different settings, different worlds, different cultures. It's like having a mental time machine, a portal to different realities.
Right. They give the example of a historical novel set in ancient Rome.
Okay.
The author's detailed research and vivid descriptions bring that world to life, immersing the reader in the sights, sounds, smells, and the social dynamics of that time and place.
It's like taking a virtual vacation to ancient Rome.
Exactly. And it highlights, the power of reading to expand our horizons, to introduce us to new cultures and perspectives, and to help us understand the vast tapestry of human experience.
Speaking of expanding horizons, the author also talks about the migration of ideas, how concepts and technologies can travel across time and space, influencing different cultures and shaping the course of history.
Yeah. They trace the origins of papermaking, for example, highlighting how this seemingly, simple invention, which originated in China,
Right.
spread throughout the world and revolutionized communication, education, and the dissemination of knowledge.
It's amazing to think about how one invention can have, such a ripple effect across cultures and throughout history.
Right. And it reminds us that, every innovation, every breakthrough is built upon a foundation of prior knowledge, and that ideas have this power to transcend borders and transform societies.
It's making me think about how interconnected we all are, how we're all part of this this ongoing exchange of ideas and innovations that shape our world.
And the author concludes this section on innovation with this inspiring idea of chasing light, suggesting that reading can be, a source of illumination, insight, and inspiration,
Yeah.
guiding us on our own paths of creativity and innovation.
It's like that feeling you get when you read something that, truly resonates with you, something that sparks an idea or opens up a new way of thinking.
Exactly. And they share a great story about an artist who read a biography of Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, okay.
And she was so inspired by his genius, his insatiable curiosity, and his dedication to his craft that she was motivated to push herself further and, achieve a breakthrough in her own work.
That's such a powerful reminder that reading can be a source of not just knowledge, but also like motivation and inspiration. It can connect us to the great minds and the creative spirits that have, come before us and inspire us to reach for our own potential.
And now we arrive at the final realm of exploration, which is the ultimate experiences that reading can offer. It's about how reading enriches our inner lives and expands our understanding of, what it means to be human.
This is where we go beyond like the practical benefits of reading and tap into its emotional and spiritual power.
Yeah. The author starts by emphasizing the power of emotion, how reading can evoke this wide range of feelings, from joy and laughter to sadness and grief,
Right.
allowing us to, connect with our own humanity and empathize with others.
It's like a workout for our emotional intelligence.
Totally.
We're exposing ourselves to different emotional landscapes, learning to recognize and process our own feelings, and developing a deeper understanding of the human experience.
Yeah, they share this particularly moving passage from a novel that describes, a character's experience of grief, and the author's ability to capture the raw, visceral nature of human emotion in such a powerful way is what makes reading such a profoundly moving experience.
It's a reminder that we all share these fundamental human experiences, these joys and sorrows that connect us across cultures and, throughout time.
Right. And while reading can certainly evoke, those deeper, more complex emotions, it can also be a source of, pure amusement and delight.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need a good laugh or a lighthearted escape.
Yeah. They share a funny anecdote from a memoir about, a writer's childhood misadventures, highlighting the author's ability to, find humor in everyday situations.
All right.
And to share those moments of joy and laughter with the reader.
It's a reminder that reading can be pure fun, pure entertainment, and sometimes that's exactly what we need.
Absolutely. But then there's also the pleasure that comes from, engaging with a well-crafted text, from appreciating, the beauty of language, the elegance of structure, and the skill of the writer.
It's like savoring a delicious meal where every ingredient is perfectly balanced,
Yeah.
and every bite is a delight to the senses.
They share, a passage from a poem
Okay.
that showcases the poet's mastery of language, the rhythm, the imagery, the emotional depth. It's a reminder that reading can be this deeply aesthetic experience,
Yeah.
a way to appreciate the artistry of words and to savor the beauty and power of language.
Sometimes I'll reread a beautifully written sentence just to let the words wash over me, to appreciate the way they sound and the images they evoke.
Absolutely. And while reading can bring us, great pleasure, it can also challenge us, make us uncomfortable,
Right.
even force us to confront, difficult truths. The author calls this the pain of reading.
This makes me think about books that have challenged my worldview,
Yeah.
that have forced me to reconsider my own beliefs and assumptions. It could be, a bit unsettling, but ultimately it's a growth experience.
Right. They share a passage from a novel that depicts the horrors of war, highlighting the author's unflinching portrayal of violence, suffering, and the psychological toll that it takes on individuals and societies. It's a reminder that reading can be this powerful tool for confronting uncomfortable truths, for understanding the darker side of human nature, and for developing empathy and compassion for those who have suffered.
It's so important to be exposed to different perspectives, even those that are, challenging or difficult to hear. It helps us break out of, our echo chambers and see the world in a more nuanced and compassionate way.
Absolutely. And sometimes reading can be a form of role playing, allowing us to like step into the shoes of others, to experience different perspectives, and to explore different aspects of, our own identities.
This makes me think about how reading fiction can be such a powerful form of empathy. We're literally,
Mm.
putting ourselves in someone else's mind,
Yeah.
seeing the world through their eyes, and feeling what they feel.
Right. They share a passage from a play that features, a character who is struggling with, um, their identity, highlighting the playwright's ability to capture the like internal conflicts, the self-doubt, and the yearning for, authenticity that many of us experience, at some point in our lives.
Yeah, it's a reminder that reading can be a powerful tool for self-discovery, for exploring different facets of our own personalities, and for developing empathy and understanding for those who are different from us.
Right. And finally, the author concludes this exploration of, ultimate experiences with the concept of the literary heart.
What a beautiful phrase. What do they mean by that?
It's about cultivating a deep appreciation for the art of writing, for the craft of storytelling, for the power of language, and for the transformative potential of reading itself.
It's like becoming a connoisseur of language,
Yeah.
developing this um, refined palette for the nuances of style, the elegance of structure, and the depth of meaning that a skilled writer can create.
Exactly. And they share a passage from a literary essay that, celebrates the beauty and power of language, highlighting the writer's ability to use words to,
Yeah.
paint these vivid images, to evoke powerful emotions, and to convey profound truths.
It's a beautiful reminder that reading can be this deeply enriching and rewarding experience, one that can expand our minds, nourish our souls, and connect us to the vast tapestry of human experience.
And as we conclude our deep dive into these fascinating reading methods, I hope you'll walk away with a renewed sense of curiosity and a desire to explore the world of books with an open mind and a willingness to experiment.
I know, I will. This has been such an insightful and inspiring journey. It's made me realize that reading is so much more than just, a way to pass the time.
Yeah,
It's a powerful tool for personal growth, for creative exploration, and for connecting with with the wider world.
absolutely. And remember, these methods are not meant to be, like rigid rules, but rather invitations to discover your own unique path to reading enrichment.
So happy reading, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the transformative power of books.